Warning, the following video has not been approved by the Comic Code Authority and is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The.Comic.Assassin. It's Friday. I hope all of y'all had a great week. But today is the day where I'll let you guys know what books I picked up, and we also do a little bit of a comic book review, spoilers included, on two different books. But first, another shout out to one of my non-sponsors, because this show is not brought to you by bread. Alright? Check it out, y'all. Bread. You can eat it by itself. You don't have to do nothing special to it. You can eat bread. If you had a barbecue, you can soak up some extra barbecue sauce. You can put it in a toaster. You can put it in a toaster and put some jelly on it. But you know what's the best? You can take a piece of bread, you can put some stuff on top of it, put another piece of bread down, and boom, you got yourself a sandwich. But the fun's not over yet. Sometimes you don't like the heels of the bread. It might start going stale, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun with it. Right? You can go to the park and you can feed some ducks. You can go outside your house, your apartment, throw some out, let the little birds eat it, you give them back to nature, boom. That's bread. But I know you didn't come here to listen to my non-sponsor speech. You want to know what books I picked up and listen to this review. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. So first off, only one book from DC this week. And that had to be Deceased, number 5. I really wanted that horror homage cover, but they didn't have it. So I definitely went with the Matina cardstock. Definitely digging the series. Something crazy happens in this one. So yeah, check it out. On to Marvel. House of X, issue 6 of 6. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it. I got the connecting cover. Like I said, this is one of the most cartoony connecting covers they've done so far. And I'm kind of disappointed. They start off really strong with the connecting covers. But yeah, this one's like super cartoony. But how to get the book regardless. Absolute Carnage, the Immortal Hulk, number 1. I mean, how can you go wrong? You got Carnage, you got the Immortal Hulk, you got Al Ewing writing it, digging it. And back to the regular Immortal Hulk, 24. And once again, man, the covers are just killing it. Alex Ross has been just freaking killing it with these covers. Some of my indie books I picked up. How to Go With My Man Kanto, number 5. Like I said, if you're not on the Kanto train yet, I have no idea what you're doing, but Kanto is freaking awesome. And then I had to go with IDW Mountainhead number 2. Like, I enjoyed number 1. I actually did a review on number 1. I thought about doing a review on number 2 for this one, but I'm kind of mixing it up a little bit today. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what happens in Mountainhead number 2. But the 2 books that I picked up that I will be reviewing this week, and like I said, I usually do indies, but I felt like mixing it up a little bit. And I'm going to be doing first Spiderverse number 1 by Marvel. Alright, so I heard a lot of hype. The only reason why I picked this book up is they said there was a new character being introduced. Actually, several possible new characters, but one that might have some longevity. And I hate passing on a book and then 2 or 3 years down the road, or even sometimes the next week or 2 weeks, realizing that you can't buy the book for regular cover price. You got to spend the extra change if you want it. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump into Spider-Verse number 1. Basically, it starts off with Miles Morales having a fight scene with Q-Ball. Right? So he knocks him off, knocks him out, does the deal, leaves him webbed up for the cops, and basically his spider sense starts going off like crazy. and he gets this message, and what do they call it through his someone was nanocasting through your arachno frequency. All right, I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, someone's nanocasting through his arachno frequency, and they tell him that their name is Spider Zero. So anyway, they're like, get ready, here we go, and they do a little thwip on him, and Miles Morales is cast through the parallels of the multiverse. All right, so he's cast through, and that's kind of a cool shot. You get a scene of all the different Spider-Man, spider things across the multiverse. And from here on out, it kind of just jumps around. And I don't know what else to say. He goes from one universe, he sees another Spider-Man who's doing a battle. He wants to join in that one. Then he gets jumped into another universe. And this one was Monsterverse. So you have like the monster Spider-Man going on there. And there's all this dialogue, which really isn't really important to the story, besides the fact that he's just jumping from universe to universe. Now, this one I actually really did like. So he gets to Earth 10113519. Okay? And I dig this guy. So basically, it's a guy, I guess it's the Spider-Man for that Earth. He's rolling around like Mad Max in the Spider-Man mask. And basically, he was saying that, like, in that universe, that mutants have taken over everything, and he has like the last sample of irradiated human DNA. So he's trying to save the human existence, but the mutants are not wanting it. And man, this scene right here just cracked me up. All right, you have like all the mutants chasing Spider-Man. You have you have Beast, Wolverine, Iceman, and look at this Professor X. I don't know if you can see that, but the Professor X with all his super expanded head, like that is, to me, that was the funniest thing about this whole comic. Anyway, he gets split to another universe. Then he finally comes across another Spider-Man that he recognizes, and that's like the punk Spider-Man. Or Spider-Punk, however you pronounce it. So they get engaged in the little fight that he was already doing. And basically it's like, I'll come back to see you. And then he goes to another Earth. So he's just getting whipped through time throughout this whole comic. And it comes in and goes into more of a black and white setting, which I thought was pretty cool. And this is Takuya, right? And he's asking, do you know who this Spider Zero is? So the whole time, though, the Spider Zero keeps on talking to Miles, like, come on, I'm pulling you out, I'm pulling you out. And there was times that Miles was like, no, like, I want to stay here and fight. But the Spider Zero keeps on pulling him through. Anyway, he ends up being at the right place on this Earth. And here comes the first appearance of Spider Zero. Alright, it's this chick right here. And he's surprised, like, you're a kid, you're younger than me. Like, what is going on? And then it goes into the whole story about the web of life, the web of destiny, how they thought that it was destroyed. And I guess that it was, but then the maker made a new one. And basically, she's in charge of its upkeep. So she's explaining the whole shindig. And these covers right here, or these pages right here. And basically, they're saying that Annie Mae Parker, was the pattern maker, not the creator, the pattern maker. But she's gone missing. And since she's been missing, like there's just some kind of like, the web is diseased, and she's been trying to fight off what she can, but she's having issues. And even he's like, why are you calling me in? Why don't you call in the real Peter Parker, for real, on this? And she's like, that was their thing. This is ours. We're the new generation. We have to take this on. He's like, okay, I'm sold. Let's go. And he's like, where do we start? And she's like, everywhere. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, what I did like is they actually did do some fan art in this one. And so in the very back, they have some. So here's one from one fan that did some art for him for a different character. That was Spider Requiem, or Queen, however you pronounce it. Here's another one, the Spinster. And then V. I thought V actually looked pretty cool. So that was cool that they actually, published some fan art that they had received. And that's it. Next issue. So my thoughts, and I am a huge Spidey fan, but I'm not a huge Spider-Verse, I'm not a huge multiverse fan. I generally just don't like it. Alright, to me it seems like kind of just an easy way to come up with new concepts, and I just don't like the meshing of the multiverses. That's my personal opinion. But for the book itself, it was good. It was kind of fast-paced. It was entertaining. It's kind of cool seeing what Spider-Man would look like in different parallel universes. I get the excitement and the mystery behind kind of all that stuff, but I'm just usually not a huge fan of Spider-Verse. I picked up this issue because I knew there was a new character being introduced, or several, but it wasn't a bad book. So if you like the Spider-Verse and you like the whole gaming thing, this might be a book that you might want to pick up. For me personally, I might pick up issue 2, but it's definitely not one that I see me picking up long term. Alright, because I'm a Peter Parker guy. If Spider-Man is not Peter Parker, you can kind of count me out, generally. But that's my personal opinion. But yeah, but it was a decent book. The artwork was good. It's fast-paced, nice read. I did enjoy it. Now the next one is Vampire State Building, #1. Now this is from Ablaze Comics. And I have never heard of Ablaze Comics. It kind of got the hype because it's from the artist of The Walking Dead. I did get the cover B. This is the Inyuk Lee variant. Cover price, because like I said, I don't do ratios, I don't do incentives on this show. But I guess just jump into it. So basically, there's this couple on top of the Empire State Building, along with a lot of other people. Oh, I have to tell this story. The very first time I went to the Empire State Building, I had a knife on me, and I was a kid, I was a teenager, right? I had a knife on me. Not in any malicious type of way, just had one in my pocket, and you went through the metal detectors. Beep, beep, beep. Right, and my mom's like, what the hell's going on? And I whip out this knife, and my mom was so ticked off at me. She was so ticked off at me. But yeah, that's my one first experience at the Empire State Building, is having to get my knife confiscated because it was in my pocket. So yeah, just a little fun story. Anyway, this couple is up on the Empire State Building, and they're having some dialogue. Apparently, one of the main characters, this guy, he's kind of the guy that could have had it all. He could have had a scholarship, could have had so much in his life, but he's sacrificing that to go to Afghanistan, or to join the military and whatnot. And there's this dialogue between him and this woman about, why are you doing this? Your father was there. He died there. Why are you doing this? And, and he's holding up, I guess what was his father's lighter and everything. And so they're having some dialogue about that. They're waiting for their friends to come, and their friends show up. And basically, it's just some friendly banter back and forth, and look, this is what you're missing out on. Look at this sunset. And he's like, this is all great, but you could have just bought me a beer. But they're trying to show him a little bit of a farewell before he goes off to wherever he's going off to. Meantime, and she says, and this was kind of interesting. So she says she's got tickets for something from her dad. I guess her dad's like a rich person. And there was all these invites because they found something hidden within the Empire State Building. Like a secret room or something. They don't really say at this point. But she's got some of those invites, and they were going to come see what was hidden in this room. So meanwhile, it cuts to these two construction workers who were actually going into this hidden area, and they're speculating on what it was. They think that it was where these rich executives had their interviews with hot could-be secretaries or whatever. They think it's more fetishy. But anyway, they get there and they're seeing all these hieroglyphs on the wall, and they start tearing down some of the ceiling, and a hand just kind of falls down. Right? So it seems like it was either a burial site or a chamber or something like that. But they're like, oh, this had to have been put up when the building was built. So, meanwhile, it cuts to a scene in the subway. You have this. You won't be able to see it good because it's kind of small. But there's this little homeless guy sitting there, and the mom is pulling her son, and she's like, don't bother the man. And he looks up at the Empire State Building like he senses something. So meanwhile, it cuts back to the party, the group of young adults. And they're going there. They're just talking about how they're starving, but the line's so long. And then it cuts to another scene. So this is another group of people where this guy, he's running for the elevator. And he meets, I guess, this woman who, I guess he's just a courier, right? So all he does is deliver stuff. But I guess he's been trying to mac on this lady right here. So he continues to try to mac on her. And she's like, you never quit. And he's like, oh, I know, I have dreams, I have ambitions. And they're having some personal talk with one another. But this is when, while they're talking in the elevator. And he's like, all you're ever going to see me as is a courier. And she's like, no, trust me, that's not how I see you. I'm busy. I have a daughter. I can't go out and get a drink with you. It's nothing. It really is nothing personal. But you see this guy, and I know you won't be able to see it, but there's this guy creeping up towards the elevator. The door shuts, and all of a sudden, boom, vampire. All right, so he takes out these cops. And then all of a sudden, you just have a horde of vampires running down the street. And basically, but they're not just wild and crazy. He even says, seal off the buildings. And so apparently this is one of the major vampires, at least leading kind of this horde. And I'm not going to go page for page, but basically what they're doing is they're going in there. They're taking over. The group of people, that's the main group of people, they're trapped. The other guy and woman from the second scene, they're trapped. And basically they're like, what the hell is going on? One of the friends does get knocked off. But it all comes down to they're all running, and the woman that was with the courier, she sees one of the main characters and the girl, and she's like, come in here, I got the keys, we'll lock it, but we're barricading ourselves in. And, they're all like, what the hell's going on? They don't know if it's cannibals, they even mentioned vampires. There was a reference to Walking Dead at one point in this book, which I thought was kind of funny. But basically, so you have the cops outside, and they're like, what's going on? They think it's a terrorist attack. So they're following, 9/11 protocol. They shut off all communications. And they're really trying to get down to, what is going on. A body gets thrown or they jumped out the window, it crashes on a cop car, and so they're like, what's going on? Anyway, so it cuts back to the guy, and I believe it was the guy that was in, the homeless guy that was in the subway, that's kind of the main person leading this horde, and they're leading them to the spot where that secret room was. And lo and behold, they're like, we're here. What do they call themselves? So we are your children, your blood. We are the Hamatsa. And today the world awaits your eternal reign. And so basically there was just one of the lord of these vampires buried up in this secret place in the Empire State Building. And then to be continued. And then besides that, there's just like a preview of this little funny, kind of rude, crude type of comic. You got some butt cheeks in there. For Unsacred #1, which comes out in the beginning of November. I'm not really interested in all that, to be honest with you. But yeah, I like the story. Definitely going to be picking up issue #2. What I did not like about it is, first off, the artwork wasn't bad. Alright, so the artwork wasn't bad. Do not get me wrong. But I just was not really a huge fan of how they portrayed the vampires. Like, if this is a vampire story, like, I want to see those vampires and be like, man, those are some wicked looking vampires. But I just did not get that feel from this. Also, I just kind of found it kind of weird that, like, one thing, something's normal, everything's normal, and then all of a sudden you have this horde of vampires just run out of New York City. Like, they've been there this whole time, and nothing's up. So, yeah, I didn't really understand that part. I thought it would have been cooler if there was something, like, really locked in that vault, and, like, it came down and started picking off people one by one. That's kind of how I wish they would have gone with it. But overall, I thought it was a good book. Definitely enough for me to pick up issue #2. So yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys picked up. If you read any of these books, did you like them? Oh yeah, there was another book that I really wanted to get. I'm sorry I'm jumping all over the place. The D Ward, which came out from Keen Spot Comics. It was one of my picks for this past week. Get to my LCS. Saw that it was $4.99. And I was like, wow, that's a really high price tag for an indie publisher for #1. I could see something like that from Marvel or DC. But for Keen Spot, I was like, I opened that up, man. I had to put it right back on the wall. It seemed so not entertaining. If you read that book, please let me know if you liked it. But I opened it up and I was like, what is this? Like, the artwork wasn't bad, and there was some dialogue, but it just was not what I was expecting from that book. So I really am interested, if any of you read The D Ward, to let me know how it was. Because, yeah, for $4.99 from an indie, you better be bringing some freaking thunder, and there was nothing rumbling going on with that book. But, yeah, so let me know. Let me know what you thought about these books that I reviewed. The ones that I showed. Did you pick them up? Did you pass on them? And why, if you did. But yeah, with that being said, this is the Comic Assassin. I hope all of y'all have a great weekend. And if you get out and try to go find some comic books, or you're hunting online, I'm wishing all of you guys happy hunting.